And if everything works, we should be live now.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Everything Outside Code. And today I have a fantastic creator, Cam. You want to say hello, Cam, before we
Hello.
kick things off? Yeah. And as usual, today we're going to be talking about everything outside code. As it sounds, we're talking about product distribution. I want to hear Cam's story, everything from marketing, sales. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments or just let us know where you're joining this stream from. And we're supposed to have fun for the next 45-ish minutes. So I'll just get straight to it. You could just tell us a bit about yourself, Cam, and how you got here.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be on this podcast. It's really cool and fun title. Everything outside of code. Like I think that's great and worth talking about. There's a lot of people who just kind of talk about code, new things in code, but this is more like product and people and experiences, and I think that's fun. So I'm Cam Pak. I live in Oklahoma. If you want to know where Oklahoma is at, think of the U.S. Think of right in the middle, and a lot of people picture us with cows and farmers, and a lot of that is true. And then there's also a tech scene that's kind of growing in Oklahoma City area. I have a beautiful wife and a 11-month-old. He just turned 11 months a couple days ago, and
congrats, man.
Yeah, it's really sweet. I wish I would have brought like a little photo. Yeah, he is adorable. His name's Bennett. My wife's name's Hannah. You can look at him, and then he looks just like Hannah, and then you can look at him, and then he looks just like me. So like
just
he's
like you,
like split of both of us. It's super cute. Being a dad, that is old. That's worth the podcast in and of itself. That so I am a software engineer, designer by trade. Some people call that a design engineer. I've been coding since coding professionally since 2019, but coding since 2015 and just learning in college. There's some fun stories of how I quit a couple times, and then so I'm a Christian. I'm a believer in God and in Jesus, and there's been times where I've been fully convinced that God put code back on my mind and brought me in that direction. So if you ever want to chat about that, but that's so right now I work for a company called Our Technology. That's my day job, and then we'll be talking about faith.tools. At Our Technology, we create software that helps the people who serve the homeless, kind of like the middlemen. However, we just created think Google Maps for homeless resources. Right now, go to the App Store, the Play Store. It's called Our Calling, so OurCalling. It's one word. And go search your area, and you'll see that there's shelters in your area, that there's food places nearby for them, whether it's distribution of clothing, resources, even things for like domestic abuse. So if you are someone who wants to help the homeless or know someone who's homeless or encounter someone who's homeless, but you don't have money to give, you can tell them about this app, because it turns out there's a lot of people who are homeless who have phones. We just released that, and my day job or my fun things in the morning is faith.tools, and we can dig more into that.
Yeah, that's impressive. I didn't know a tool like Our Calling existed. Is this available globally or just in the US?
There's no technical boundaries on why it can't be available globally. However, there's certain features that won't be available globally. One feature would be a dispatch of help to a homeless person, like someone who's saying, I'm homeless, I want help. And we can dispatch help from a nonprofit to go visit that homeless person. Yeah. So that wouldn't be available globally. It's kind of like if your town, your city wants that, we help you get that installed and ready. Otherwise, you can add a resource. So you can submit a resource to us, and we can go and add it. And I think what we're figuring out is the people in their own cities and towns know the resources best. And so I could try to go scrape it all over the web, and we've done a job with that. but finding having local people submit it, that's where we're going to get the best data set and the best way to help people.
It's this, right? Ourcalling.org.
Ourcalling.org is the nonprofit that we created the app for. And then it's, go on there and just find the app. You can also go to ourtechnology.co. So OUR technology. It's kind of long. .co.
Yeah.
Feel free and go show that. And that's where like you can find links to the app very easily. There's also a web app. So if anyone wants to go and do the web app, I'll send this in. I guess I could do private chat.
Yeah.
It's app.homeless. I think it's resources. Let me see. App.homeless.resources. No. App.homeless.services.
Nope.
App.homeless.services. Yep. And then it'll load up the app.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're listening and you're interested in that, go look at ourtechnology.co or go look at app.homeless.services and get the experience.
Yeah.
If you find a resource or a resource that's not on there, go and submit it to us.
Yeah, it feels like an enhanced map.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like Apple Maps.
Yeah, it looks like an Apple Map.
Very specific. Yeah.
Yeah, and geared towards the homeless community, helping the homeless community.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of like places would find this very, very beneficial.
Yeah, it was really fun building. So
yeah,
I'm happy
thanks
that
for
it's out in the world and released.
Yeah, I'm going to check this out later. Thanks for sharing this, by the way. So let's talk about Faith Tools, right? How did you get to building it? Why did you decide to build it in the first place?
There's probably a lot of reasons that come together of like that epiphany moment of this would be cool to build. I think things that kind of came was after a long period of sickness, so it was probably, I think it was around November 2022 till around April 2023. So it's just an extended period of being sick, feeling nauseous, not being able to really work, and then spending most of the days just laying on the couch, and my body was hurting and just resting, trying to eat well, journaling, trying to pray and figure out what is happening. Towards what was funny is in that hard season, like what could have been the worst season of my life, it was where I felt a lot of peace. And I think it was like in the slowing down and addressing the things you don't want to address, and the taking care of my health, and like journaling and praying and asking God for help. And then over time, when it became like around April, I started to feel good enough to go back to work and to be there full time again. And I just remember I just kept thinking about code. So at that time I was a product designer, not only I was a product designer for like a year, I think. And then before that it was like design engineer. So some code, some design. And then before that was code. And in the past, code was just so kind of overwhelming for me. Maybe it's ADHD, I have no clue, but I'd write in code and I'd be like, man, trying to solve this thing, and I'd have a headache. And then coming out of the sickness, I just started getting ideas, really cool ideas. And I really believe like God put code on my heart. And I start to work on something that's like a church website builder. Think of, Linktree or like a link bio, that, but more of like a church bulletin for a church. And so you can just sign in a simple one pager. You add your information. You don't have to drag and drop anything. It just kind of appears on the page and looks good. So it's either a church website for people who don't want or don't have a good budget or ability to hire a designer or someone to make a church website, or it's a church bulletin to simplify a complex website. So you can go visit that at melos.church, which is melos.church. Melos means members of one body. So it's the body of the church coming together. And this is a digital place to do that. So I started working on that for fun, and it became a thing. And I was like, I like this. I'm enjoying this. I'm actually enjoying code again. And then there's a little bit of a longer story, but so at this time, it would have been 5 years working at YouVersion, at the Bible app. And that is in Edmond, Oklahoma. So it's just a joy to be able to work there for that duration of time. And they were so kind when I was sick. Like, they let me take time off and go on short-term disability and rest, and very thankful for that. That was so in that dark or hard season, or what could have been a really, really hard season of sickness, I wanted to go back into code. Like, I felt this deep desire, conviction to come back into code. However, it wasn't like, hey, go ask your boss if you can code again. It was like, no, there's something different. I don't know why. And I would pray and ask God, and I'd say, what do you have? And there was something, but kind of just trust me. I'm like, what do you mean just trust? And fine, I'll do that. Eventually that's where I heard about our technology, and I heard about it in a Slack channel. I just watched like the intro video. I'm kind of jaw dropped. My wife is like, whoa, that's so cool. And then that is pretty much my intro. And then I instantly applied. And that was my intro back into technology, back into coding, after being away for a bit. Then I worked on Melos in my free time, worked on this like Christian prayer meditation app that brings together the resources from a bunch of Christian creators on YouTube, and just puts it into one place so that people can like benefit from this content. When I was going through the sickness, this type of content of just slowing down and praying and trusting that God's in control, and that was nice, because like I couldn't fix anything of what was going on with my health. Well, I tried everything, and then I think at that point was when I was like, no, I'm finding this cool like communities of Christians in tech on Twitter, on like Faith Tech Slack. I'm like, so it's slowly but surely I'm finding these great people. I'm like, man, where do you even distribute these things? Because if you put it on the App Store or something, then it's there and then it's kind of gone, because the App Store won't say a Christian app or any religious app is app of the day. And they won't write a big story about it. Where's the place for that? So I was very intrigued and wanted to do that. And I was at church, and our church is called Life Church. They tended to give away a lot of things, a lot of resources, And they had this like, scan this QR code, and here's like a list of all these resources that can help you with anxiety. And I was like, whoa, what if there was this place that you could go and find like Christian apps easily, and then I can go tell the stories, and it's more about like the heart and the people behind it versus just like. So anyway, and I faith.tools, is that domain available? And it was like $50.
Wow.
Yeah, I told my wife, she said, go buy it. And I'm like, go buy it. Absolutely, I'll go buy it.
Yeah.
Like, you're encouraging me to buy a domain? It's kind of like a frivolous kind of thing when people talk about buying domains.
Buying domains, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the origin story. There's more, because there's other stories of people looking for that sort of community of like, is there people who create from a faith-based kind of standpoint of, hey, I like to code, and God gives me wisdom and desire even on how to code and just how to live. That's the birth of Faith Tools.
Yeah, that's interesting. And if the motivation sounds really strong, and also it sounds like you're called to create that, right?
Yeah, it's what it feels like.
That's how it sort of feels. Yeah. That's really cool. So did you try to build a community alongside Faith Tools, or it's just the product at the moment?
It it has grown a community in two places. I don't remember what I was trying to do at first, but I was like, the deeper part is when I'm meeting these other people, I'm learning, hey, we're creating some cool stuff and we're accidentally creating it kind of by ourselves. And
Yeah.
then and because of that, we're having similar ideas, building some very similar things. And then
Hmm.
we may see one another as, hey, you're my competition, you're my competition. And like, I don't
Yeah.
like you. And um, I was working on some Bible.com stuff because YouVersion owns Bible.com. And
Hmm.
I remember every once in a while just joking about there's another website called Bible Gateway. And I was like, I want to rank higher than them. I want to be better than them. Because they would always
Yeah.
be like number one or the top. But
Yeah.
I was convicted of that because I'm like, man, they're they're like my brother and sister over there. And I'm
Yeah.
saying, I'm just like, I'm joking, but I'm causing division. And
Mhm.
I mean, we don't, if anything, we definitely need each other. And
Yeah.
if anything, we can collaborate and maybe make our products better because there's room for Bible Gateway, there's room for Bible.com and all these other tools.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I just, when I wasn't working at YouVersion anymore, I just started to see there's more and more of us not working together, even though it's very possible to work together and then make better things because we did do that together.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's where like a community kind of focus went for Faith Tools. So I
Hmm.
created a Substack newsletter. I wanted to create a newsletter because you can showcase stories. So if you created something really cool and you're like, this is targeted towards Christians and can benefit in this way, like I
Yeah.
like to hear kind of like what you're doing here is like hearing the background, hearing the stories of how it kind of came to be, not the intricate, like it was built with this stack, all this stuff,
Yeah.
but rather like, hey, here's a series of events that led to this moment. And then you get to see the human behind it, the person behind it. It's like, hey, I
Yeah.
kind of relate to that person because of this. Someone listening to this might be like, hey, like, my faith is something that's very important to me. I've always wondered how I could like do that with work. Or someone
Yeah.
could say, um, I'm going through an intense chronic sickness right now. And to hear that you were able to have peace in the middle of that is very encouraging. So just
Yeah.
telling these stories is like that's what brings us together. We don't bond on just numbers and metrics. It's the
Yeah.
story and the people. That's what I wanted to tell. So I created the Substack
Yeah.
because it was free, and then trying to save some money. And then I created a Twitter community for Christians in tech, and
Hmm.
that's like slowly just been growing. It's at like 200 now. But if you're
Hmm.
if you're a Christian and you're like, I really care about tech, I'm in this tech field, and like, where are people who are doing similar things who are like me? And so you could just go on there and ask questions, ask for prayer, like showcase what you're working on. Um,
Yeah.
there's nothing too specific about it besides, hey, I know I've seen a lot of you on Twitter and scattered in different places. Like, here's a cool place where we can come
Hmm.
together and we can see
Yeah.
each other's stuff often and maybe meet someone cool, maybe hear a cool
Yeah.
story. So that's kind of where the community piece is going. I've been doing
Hmm.
the Substack newsletter so all this originated March 10th. So what's cool is it's like fast. It's like, uh,
That's super fast.
so
I was going to
July.
ask.
Yeah, very quick. Um, and yeah, spinning up Faith Tools was really fun. Like just searching and trying to find these apps.
Yeah.
What are you
How
thinking
did you
right
get the
now?
apps on?
Yeah, okay.
So I'm thinking, how'd you get the apps on? Because I see there are a lot of apps, different kinds of apps.
Yeah, we're almost
Some of them are, faith like focused, and then some of them, like I see StreamYard there, for instance. And
yeah,
StreamYard
StreamYard
is like
made
a
it.
general, yeah, streaming
So
app. So how'd you get all those apps in there? Because
the
that's
cool
usually a challenge with directories, right? Is how'd you get folks.
Yeah, and quality control, and
Yeah.
because one problem is you go to the App Store right now, you search Bible, you'll find a few great ones at the top, and you keep scrolling. You might find ones that were created by companies like it sucks that this is a thing, but there are people who do nefarious things and just try to make money off of it. And so there's crazy amount of ads and very much misusing the Bible, and certain
Yeah.
apps are doing that. So you could find some of those easily. Um, and what I wanted to do was, and then also if you're searching for Christian apps in the app stores, it's what do I search? How do I
Yeah.
find something that could help me? Because I know the word Bible, I know the words prayers. There's something else that I type. Um, so making exposure easy. How I found these apps is I just am so curious about what's happening and what people are working on, that it's probably about let's I might be overdoing it. Maybe 3/4 is what I found, and the rest is
Mm-hmm.
what other people found. Actually, it sounds about right. What other people submitted. So what I
Yeah.
learned is you're creating a directory, and you want it to be something that people see as a trusted resource. You want to make sure that there are guardrails of what goes in and what doesn't. So if you go on Faith Tools, there's a selection criteria. There's about 9 items that
Mm-hmm.
really is does it help the Christian community? Is this a problem that Christians have? Is it targeted towards just a single church, or is it for multiple, a global kind of community? If it's for a single
Yeah.
church, then it's I'm not going to add it because it's helpful for your local church community, and it's
Mm-hmm.
fine, but your local church will promote that. So there's even things about AI, because imagine AI speaking on behalf of the Bible. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
very careful because someone might
Yeah.
AI isn't perfect. So I'm a
Yeah.
little more strict when it comes to AI tools. You have to have good selection criteria. You want to have good content when you're entering in content. And if you have nothing up front, people will not want to submit. So what I learned is
Yeah. How'd
find
you bootstrap that?
tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just go find them. And I already knew about a lot. I don't know why. I just love this kind of stuff. So I already knew about a
Yeah.
lot, and then was just adding them, adding them, and then I'm self tweaking or creating square images. So if
Mm-hmm.
maybe someone submits an image and it's got some weird transparency on it, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make every image on it look good and presentable while still representing their brand and what they're wanting for their product. Um,
Yeah.
the beauty of that is like having control over that sort of design piece right now is
Mm-hmm.
quality control, and I can keep making it look good. Now, after a while, I've gotten a couple hundred in there. People are like, wow, they're this person knows what they're talking about when it comes to faith tools. And I was able to pretty much I got their image. This is what the title is of it is. This is what it does, like a description.
Mm-hmm.
I can get to it. Here's App Store links if there are any App Store links. At some point, people start to see this and they're like, you know what? I actually do see this as a trusted resource. I'm going to
Yeah.
submit this because either I created it and would love to bring it to more people, because that's what directories can do, is help you bring more exposure. And then I don't know where else my mind was going with that, but people start to trust it. People start to submit, and now we're almost at 400 apps, tools, services that can serve Christians.
Listed.
And yeah, so the one thing that you mentioned right at the beginning or before this was there's apps that are explicitly Christian, and then there's
Yeah.
apps that are like StreamYard. And there's other apps. I don't have this in there, but Notion would be something that could be helpful to a Christian. Um,
Yeah.
so the idea isn't isolate the people so you only use tech major
Okay.
Christians, because that's not possible. Plus,
Yeah.
that's not good. We're not supposed to isolate from the world. It's be in the world, but not of the world. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes, the Christian life will look different. And that's why there's probably different choice of certain apps. But you're not just some isolated who can't reconcile with like talking to people. Like we probably, yeah, some Christians will listen to some similar music. We'll use some similar apps and stuff. Like, of course, the cool thing is, um, apps that can be used for maybe nefarious things or something that could be
Hmm.
harmful. There's some apps like that that can actually be used for good. Um,
Yeah.
but
So
if
what
there's
happens in
any,
that?
yeah, if there's any apps that, let's say they meet the selection criteria and they
Hmm.
can be used for good, like StreamYard. Like there's a lot of churches that use StreamYard. So I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
absolutely, I'm gonna put that on there. So you think like
Yeah.
pandemic times, church, you have your gathering, and you're like, dang it, we can't meet in person because COVID. How do we come together? StreamYard made that possible.
Yeah.
So things like that, and even like devices. I didn't put this on there, but like maybe you want a simple device,
Yeah.
non-distracting. Yeah. And so I've put like dumb phones on there, what people call dumb phones. And
Yeah.
that's helped me in the past. And really just
Hmm.
unplug. Social
Yeah.
media is good at times, and there's other times it makes me anxious. There's studies that say it makes a lot of people anxious. And
Yeah.
so
So
operate a different way.
yeah, I was going to ask, at scale at 400, how do you manage the assessment process, right? So because you have to go through each submission, right?
Mhm.
Is this
Oh
time consuming? How do you go about this?
yeah. It was time consuming at first because people would like retweet things about faith tools, and it'd be people who have a lot of followers, and then I'd start to see
Hmm.
submissions. However, at first I lowered the barrier to submissions. I made it very easy, in terms of you just give me the name of it, you give me the link, and maybe a comment, and it was like three things, and it's
Oh.
and it made it easy for people to submit. However, it also put a little bit of a burden on me where
Hmm.
it's not only the burden of reviewing it and getting all the other information, it's there's many I had to say no to, and it's hard because and it's someone sees a directory, they're like, hey, this might have a good domain authority, meaning if I get my site on here, even if
Yeah.
it's the smallest bit related or not related at all, then that means I get a high quality back,
Hmm.
and that means my site would rank better from Google. Um,
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if people's intentions with submitting things that seem. So I just ask questions. I just respond to them and say,
Hmm.
"Hey, I'd love to hear your story and thoughts about how this would impact the Faith Tools community, like how this kind of tool would be good for them or
Yeah.
this app." And surprisingly, people don't respond to that. And I'm like, yeah. So there was one that was great back and forth, and I was like, honestly, this can help a lot. Thank you for
Hmm.
like, helping me see
Yeah.
that. And then I put it on there. So
Yeah.
what I did, the big change was, you know what? Now that it's come to the point where people trust this,
Hmm.
then I want to make it like kind of higher the barrier to adding content to it
Hmm.
so that they would have to add a description. If there are App Store
Yeah.
URLs, they add the App Store URLs. If there's a square image that they have of it, they add the square image. So
Yeah.
and they can even pick the categories. They pre-pick the categories for me.
Hmm.
I'm like, thank
Yeah.
you. That helps me see the kind of like where does this fit in? How
Yeah.
because even if you have a directory, you have a giant list, if they can't
Hmm.
parse that list and find good ways like tags and categories to get
Yeah.
to where you need to get to, you're out a
Hmm.
lot. Um,
Yeah.
that helped a lot. That actually has
Oh,
made it
okay.
so manageable. I only get 1 to 2 submissions a day right now, which is so
Yeah.
manageable. And I love seeing the cool new stuff that's being submitted. Like,
Yeah.
it's stuff that maybe existed for a bit,
Hmm.
or it's like, "Hey, I'm working on this." People will submit in progress stuff, and I don't know what to do with that yet, besides, like, should I make some extra feature that's like, "Hey,
Coming soon. like a
Yeah,
coming soon.
and maybe they can like
Yeah,
follow, go on their pages, and kind of just see like, honestly, even just a
yeah,
coming soon, like a little tag that says coming soon on
yeah,
it. So smart. Good thinking.
yeah, yeah. So I see you've got like there's a link to analytics for paid
Oh yeah,
tools.
yeah.
And yeah, I clicked that and I see it's got like 16,000 approximately
In
page
the
views
past 30 days.
in the past 30 days. So that's
Yeah.
a lot. What do you do to help it get found currently? What do you do in terms of like distribution or marketing or just helping people find faith tools?
All right. You want all the dark secrets? No, I'm just kidding. There's
Yeah.
nothing crazy. Man, I will say like I have to give credit to God because this is like I don't know why the analytics are high. I'm not paying
Okay.
for anything. I'm not doing anything crazy. And then I'll tell you like here's some things that came to mind that I'm like it would be good to do this because that could um, that could increase traction. So the
Mm-hmm.
things that I did was um, I was listening to a podcast from Tithely. Tithely is like a church giving solution. So if you want to do like a digital giving and make it easy to give,
Mm-hmm.
doing like cash or whatever, Tithely is a great option. They were talking about early days. They decided what I'm going to do is write content, write helpful content, and do that weekly and not miss on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to keep doing it, knowing it might not have traction up front, and then eventually Google's going to pick up on it,
Yeah.
and then there will be SEO, and then people will find it, and then boom, starts to gain more and more traction. People will share it. So I took that advice. That's why I started the
Mm-hmm.
Substack. The
Yeah.
beauty of Substack was if you want like your own domain for Substack, Substack is like a publishing platform for blogs, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
And if you want to use your own domain on it, you have to pay just a fee. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
And I kept
Okay.
tools.substack.com. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I found was if you look up like domain authority of a substack.com domain or subdomain, it's really high. It's like in like the 90s, which means Google trusts
Oh,
this domain really well. And so what I decided was I'm actually going to keep it on that. If I keep it on that, it might rank on Google because it's high domain authority. Plus, if I have something that's high domain authority that's linking back to my site, which would be Faith Tools, um, it will actually increase the domain authority of Faith Tools.
faith tools. Yeah.
Yeah, which means Faith Tools is more trusted. Google will promote it more.
Yeah.
The other thing that I did in the meantime was uh, for the blog is there's a couple things, but one is write quality stories, tell the stories of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Not just write content for content's sake. Like, um, I don't know if I've ever ran into an AI generated blog that was actually helpful. So,
Me neither.
and if I have, I didn't notice. So kudos to you, whoever wrote, would write one that's quality.
Yeah.
But just write content that what I'm thinking is I'm writing content I wish that I could have heard in the past. So telling people
Okay.
stories like
Yeah.
um and addressing like elephants in the room of, hey, isn't that my competitor over there? Because I'm Bible.com, this Bible Gateway. It's like, no, like
Yeah.
this is actually your brother, sister over here. And maybe it's better if we actually have like a friendship. And maybe there can be something where I benefit you, you benefit me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can bring some of my stuff to you through integrations. Um, and then if there's areas where we're overlapping heavily, what if we collaborated instead? So
Yeah.
speaking on topics like that and telling people stories, I think that's what gets people to want to subscribe to these. So another thing is I found this very clever way to tell Google, hey, there's a lot of quality pages on Faith Tools. So
Okay.
you have a directory and you have a bunch of apps. On this directory,
Mm-hmm.
um, each app can have one or more tags. Well, zero or more tags, but one or more tags.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
each tag, it has its own page. I know
Oh,
if you
okay.
think of like, yeah, the math of that. If I have, let's say I have 20
400.
apps and each of those apps have 5 tags, there's is that 100? There's 100 pages right there.
Yeah.
And there's actually there would actually be another page for each of those as well. So it'd be 120 pages for each.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just joke pages or anything. It's like, so go on
Proper
Faith
page.
Tools, go click on like a category like AI, and then click on a tool. You'll actually see you'll see helpful information about that tool, but then you scroll down and you start to see, hey, here are 25. So I just capped it at 25. Here are 25
Yeah.
alternatives in the AI category. So
Yeah.
you're,
Let me
it,
do this practically
yeah.
on the screen. Mm,
Can you share the
so if
screen?
I do this, yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
So if you
So I went from Faith Tools, I went to AI, for instance, and then I just clicked on the first one here,
yeah.
Church Loom.
So let's scroll down. Usually there's not that big like Substack thing in there. I just did like a custom embed for that one. But
Oh, okay.
so now you're seeing right here 25 alternatives in the AI category. So you see that list?
Yeah, this list here.
So that is kind of like the title of the page. And so when someone's looking
Oh,
for like a church loom alternative, they're going
yeah,
to be able to find all these other things, all these other applications. And that's
yeah,
it would rank in Google because this would
yeah.
be alternative. Now, however, if you go to your URL and you take out the category,
Okay,
strip out all
just
the,
the cat.
yep, and then leave it at that. Boom, and you don't get to see the other things, and it's its own page as well. So what
Aha,
I'm doing is
aha.
I'm generating a sitemap that says, here's all these pages and the combinations of the apps. And
Mm-hmm.
the sitemap, that's like Google knows to look for this sitemap. When Google sees it, it's a list of all the pages, and it comes up to
Mm-hmm.
like over 1,000. And Google parses each and every single one of them, finds that information, and saves it however they do in the Google universe. And then
Yeah,
over time, things are actually popping up on Google.
yeah. So this sounds like programmatic SEO,
It
where
is.
uh yeah, you create multiple pages with different variants. But I never thought of the fact that the default page could just be an alternative to page, right? So going
Yeah.
from the home page, so it provides information on Church Loom, but also lists like alternatives, and Google could feature this page as an alternative, like if someone searches for alternative to Church Loom. And if you have 400, you instantly have 400 alternative to pages, which we know have like really good SEO juice.
Yeah. And the part of it that there's some parts that's like uh, I wrestled with for a long time when it comes to SEO is using
Hmm.
words like top, using words like best, and using words like alternative, because those things can accidentally pin one person or app against another as if they're like competitors, enemies. And
Yeah,
what I write in like the about section on Faith Tools page is like, obviously, if you listen to the story and you hear the heart of why this was created, you know that it's not meant to pin one person against another. However, SEO works the way SEO works, and there's certain
hmm,
things people are searching for, and they are searching for like best Bible app or best Bible
yeah,
commentary, top whatever, or alternative to this. And if that puts a faith tool in the way of somebody in a good way and it can help them, kind of have to play by the rules of SEO. And I used to
yeah,
be like against data, against SEO, and be like, I wish it was different. And maybe in the future it'll be different with this wave of AI and stuff happening. But right
hmm,
now, this is how it works. And I found a way to do it in a way that doesn't hurt anybody.
yeah.
At least from my perspective, it doesn't. And that was a joyful kind of moment for me. And it's nice to see that it's gaining traction. I checked on Google the other day, and in the past, let me double check. It was Google Console search.
Yeah, Search Console.
Yeah, and so in the last 28 days, there's been a total of 2.36 thousand clicks from Google, and then 110,000 impressions. So,
Wow.
so the click rate is pretty like 2%. But what's really cool is you can kind of see like where am I in different places. You can see where you're ranking. So Christian AI is one of the top queries. So if you go to Google and you type in like Christian AI, the Faith Tools is probably one of the top few. Yeah, on my Google, it's number 3.
It's here it's number 3 after Twitter and ChristianAI.app.
Oh wow, like Christian, that's cool because like Twitter now or Google is surfacing queries from Twitter, search queries.
From
That's
Twitter,
very interesting and makes me want to see how that can be used.
That's interesting because on Twitter, I think I need to share my screen. This is I didn't know this before now, which is pretty much interesting. So here I have like Christian AI, and then there's a ChristianAI.app, I guess from the domain name, pretty much has that. And then there's Twitter with Christian AI on X. And then there's, and then there's Faith Tools on 3, even above like apple.com.
Yeah,
and
even
AIChristian.org.
Yeah, I'm surprised. And that's not the only one. So like look up like Bible commentary app, and that one's high. I think Christian News app has been in top 10. So it's kind of crazy to see like Faith Tools.
Yeah.
Try apps. That one's top 10, but let's try Bible commentary apps. Let's see. Just an S. Didn't do too much. So top 10. But it's cool. There's some that go high. There's some that go. I'm just surprised that it's ranking on the first page of anything.
Yeah.
I think
do you get backlinks from all the tools or
no? This is good. So it might be worthwhile. Can you share your screen again? And let's go back on tools. I was recently processing this of how do you. So I'm about to add a feature where you can share, like you can go in, log in, and share your story of like, hey, here's a story that I had with Church Loom and how we used it at my church, and it was like so great because of XYZ reason. And one thing, so you can click on any of the apps. And we'll stories tab. So there's a second tab right there. And then soon you'll be able to like just create and have your account, like log in and then share a story. It's not a rating. It's not, you're not giving stars. You're not giving a thumbs down. What you're saying is, hey, this app means something to me. And here's a story on how I used it. Here's a story on how God used this app in my life. I don't know. But what's cool is how often are people really close to their users? And like, what if I give them an option to say, hey, I optionally want to share my email with the creator of this app so that they can contact me, given you're like over 18 or anything. But the cool thing about that is, hey, you immediately have access to a user right there of your app, someone who's like an advocate for your app and wants to probably provide some good, helpful feedback. Plus, you hear stories of someone benefiting from it. You're like, really? That's kind of cool. At least in the early days. I don't know. When I hear someone thinking something cool about Faith Tools, I'm like, wow. Okay. When it comes to that, is like stories will be something that you're like, I want to promote stories on my website. Like, I want people to see the stories. Maybe this is like a trusted place to have stories, not reviews, but like stories of impact. Do not go to badges on the third tab. I added something called badges where you could like click it. It'll copy some HTML, like just very simple HTML, and then you could paste it. And then that's a badge that you can put on your page. Find us on Faith Tools.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
what's cool is it links directly to Sermon Scribe. So
Yeah.
you have like that linking directly to your site without any hard work. And if you look at the code, it's very simple. I got this idea from, I think it's Uneed or Unneed, which is,
Yeah. You need.
yeah, and I got it from there. And I thought it was such a clever idea. What's good about this is if you want a backlink and you've given them a reason to give you a backlink, then yeah, paste it in there. Let's see. But if you give them a reason to do a backlink and you make it easy for them, boom, they'll probably do it.
Yeah.
And I haven't checked on any stats for what did you type?
Yeah, I'm trying to paste it, and this is
Oh, I see.
oh yeah. Yeah,
Yes, that's the
exactly.
code. It's very simple.
So yeah, so it's just a link with
An image, a
just
vector
link to an image.
or
Yeah.
PNG, yeah. So yeah, and I wasn't wanting to add you get like a copy paste HTML and it's just like a lot of code. Sometimes you're like, I don't want to
Hmm.
use that. If it's 3
Yeah.
lines, it's nothing. And it's
Yeah.
like
I
someone,
guess this
yeah,
would also help with like you getting backlinks, because if
that's
these
it.
folks, especially these tools, are like really like 400 of them, say 10% of them, you get backlinks from them with these badges. So that's going to be really good for the domain
Yeah,
authority for sure.
exactly. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of backlinks too, so that was it for this, but I just wanted to share like, hey, that's an idea.
Hmm.
So what I
Yeah.
want to tell people is like experiment. Try fun
Hmm.
little things like this because who knows? You might get some high quality backlinks. I'm still learning a lot about this SEO world
Yeah.
because I build internal tools. I don't normally build things that are
Yeah.
out public ranking on Google. So I've learned from
Yeah.
the Twitter community, lots of cool people posting things. I'm like, thank you for posting that
Yeah.
because that was very timely. Another
Hmm.
thing for backlinks, and the reason why backlinks is important, just to recap with the people listening, is it tells Google other people trust your site. Other people trust your site. Therefore, Google is like, hey, I trust these people. And if these people trust your site, I'm going to trust your site. And then they'll start ranking your stuff on Google. I have a friend that works for Christian Tech Jobs. I think it's .io. I think that's the link. And it's a pretty niche website as well. And
Hmm.
I said, hey, I can link to you in my footer. Like, I think this is such a relevant thing that it would actually be good to link to you from my
Yeah.
footer. I mean, every single page has the footer. Every single page of mine links to his. And then he's like, I'll do that to yours.
Yeah.
He's got lots of pages. And so if you look on mine, you go to the footer and you see like Christian Tech Jobs or something similar like that.
Yeah.
And then if you click it, you'll go to his and you'll see faith tools at the bottom or like Christian apps or something. I don't remember what he put.
Yeah. I see. I see Christian tech jobs first. There's a lot of them, and then on his, um,
It's in the footer somewhere.
yeah, yeah, the best place to find Christian apps goes to Faith Tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that's like, yeah, like it's about it. If you have someone working in a similar space
Hmm.
and can benefit them, like link to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And
Um,
it's
I
helped.
want to ask. Yeah, I want to ask. So currently, is this monetized? Do you have like any plans for that, or this is all free?
It's all free. And the hope is, and the commitment is, it will stay free for everybody. However,
Hmm.
if people want to sponsor Faith Tools, they can.
Okay.
There's more things kind of in the books and in the hopes, and I can just give you
Hmm.
a preview. Faith Tools, what it could become is a marketplace. So think of, let's say you're an individual and you say, hey, I'll pay $10 a month for this pass. This pass allows me to use all these apps on the premium
Yeah.
tier, subscribe tier, but I only have one payment.
Yeah.
And that would be really cool because it's it's saving people money, or it's actually kind of really just allowing more people to use the experiences in those apps.
Yeah.
Then it's a way.
Especially if you have a lot of traffic on
Yeah,
faith.tools. So it starts
yeah,
to make sense. The numbers make sense for, you know, all these other apps that are on there and want to be part of this program of some sort.
yeah. That's good thinking. Yeah, because it would be beneficial to them to get in the eyes in
Yeah.
front of many other people who probably would have not used their app. So now you're getting a
Hmm.
new customer base. You're getting more revenue to be able to do your calling, your gifting, to
Hmm.
work on those apps. And so what I
Yeah.
would do is like distribute based on, is it app usage, or I don't know exactly
Yeah.
how, but there's structures to be able to do something like that. And
Yeah.
then another part of the marketplace could be you're a church. A lot of churches use software. And so what if
Yeah.
there's like, hey, I can easily subscribe to or unsubscribe to software. And I have like one account. It's very simple. I go on there and I say, hey, I want to use this software. You sign in with Faith Tools. I want to use
Yeah.
this re-sign with Faith Tools. You already have your payment attached to it securely through like Lemon Squeezy or Stripe or something. And
Yeah.
so you can easily and intentionally subscribe to things, as well as just see the scope
Hmm.
of, hey, here's our subscriptions, because you don't want to be subscribed to something for a long time and not use it. So then you have
Yeah.
a way to actually not subscribe to it. But that is another way to make it easy to have people adopt technologies,
Yeah.
as well
Yeah.
as we can get them a discount. I could probably say, hey, this company over here, like, if I get you some people that use your app, would you do 10% off?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I really think they would. So
Hmm.
that's one
I
way,
think it,
just that's one way to get money, is
yeah.
taking a small percentage on that, on the revenue, and then most of
Hmm.
the revenue from that actually goes back to the developers, which
Yeah.
is great in my eyes. Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
mainly right now the thought is marketplace, and
Hmm.
then someone could sponsor Faith Tools. So if you go to Faith
Hmm.
Tools and you look at like a category, there's a section
Yeah.
that I'm testing. So again, like I said, beta test is fun.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, I want to sponsor this category, which
Hmm.
means you get your logo, your name, a little quote,
Yeah.
up front, up at top, where everyone that goes to that category will be able to see it. Click on your link.
Hmm.
It doesn't click and go to a Fake Tools page. It goes directly to your page. So it's like one
Hmm.
click, and
Yeah.
it's exposure.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so long as you have like a lot of traffic, I'm sure there are ways to, to monetize this. You would just peak at some point. You just have to choose which one makes sense because at 16,000 a month, that's already like really really good traffic for a very niche sector
Yeah, it
like
is.
this. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why it's
I
like
think it is.
I'm pretty appalled, and just that's why at the beginning I was like, I think God has his hands helping in this, because how in the world do I not make public facing websites and that rank at all, and then one day just make it, and then it's ranking on Google in top 10 in
Yeah,
many places. It's like there
yeah,
has to be something else helping, and it's like it's a community, it's God, and then it is hard work on some ideas that come to mind, but it's like, am I coming up with these ideas?
yeah,
And it's I don't think so. I think I'm genuinely getting help from God, and people who, like, there's so many people who are like, hey, have you thought of this?
yeah,
Should You should try this, and it's me humbling myself and saying, honestly, that's a good idea, and just
yeah.
for it.
Yeah, that's great. I'm excited to see, to see where this goes. We're coming up on time now, so thank you so much, Cam,
Yeah, thank you.
for sharing this. I've learned like a ton. First would be like how to bootstrap a directory like
Yeah,
this with with some entries first, and then getting people in to doing some form of like programmatic SEO with tags and categories
yeah,
and alternatives, and still doing this ethically without having to like pit multiple people together,
yeah.
because that's what's common with programmatic SEO and creating like alternative to pages. So this has been really, really, really fun, and I hope like folks listening also got a thing or two out of this. And personally, it's really nice to connect with you as well.
Yeah, same. No, this is fun. And I know I talked a lot because I still have a lot of questions for you.
Yeah,
But
I guess we can have another stream for sure, because I still do have a lot of questions as
okay,
well.
I told you I
Yeah.
could talk.
This has been fun, man. Thank you so much. And to everyone listening, thanks for hanging out. And it's been a wonderful day. And we'll see you next week on another episode of Everything Outside Code. Have a wonderful day then.
See ya.
Yeah.